Welcome everyone. This is the Children's Policy Centre webinar series, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, the traditional custodians on the land on which I live and work, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, who have never ceded sovereignty and remain strong in their enduring connection to land and culture. I'm Angie Bexley, Deputy Director of the Children's Policy Centre, which is based at the Crawford School of Public Policy at the Australian National University. The Children's Policy Centre undertakes innovative interdisciplinary research on a range of issues relating to children's policy. We seek to connect researchers, policymakers and practitioners working on a wide range of issues across our region to promote the human rights, well-being and best interests of children. And we aim to communicate the findings of our research and others with those who matter. This is the first in our series of webinars looking at issues of poverty and inequality through the lens of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, also known as the UNCRC, throughout the Asia Pacific. The Convention of the Rights of the Child is the most widely ratified human rights convention in history. Research has shown us that poverty and inequality, no matter if it's in developing countries or rich countries, impacts on the capacity of the nation states to fulfil their obligations under the CRC. And through this webinar series, we seek to understand the complexities of these challenges and learn the ways in which the UNCRC is a powerful tool that can empower children and create spaces for them to participate meaningfully. After Timor-Leste gained its independence in 2002, children and young people in Timor embraced their right to freedom of expression, which is Article 13 in the Convention. And I wanted to acknowledge the artist who made the image on this flyer here today, which I hope you can see. This artwork was produced by a young Timorese by the name of Bayu from the art group Gembel through a collaboration with Indonesian and Australian artists that I led back in 2007 and 2008. This is an image of Timorese men and women dancing the Tebe Hare, a dance performed at the rice harvest, an image that Bayu created in his reflection on the importance of community and his links to culture and place in his own identity. So with us here today to give us an overview of Timor-Leste and what's happening in this space is the Commissioner for the Rights of the Child, Señora Dinorah Granadeiro, Advisor to the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Ato Lekinawa Costa, and Guteriano Neves, a policy analyst and proud graduate of the Crawford School of Public Policy. So welcome to all of you and thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. Maan Guti is going to kick off proceedings today with a deep dive of the policy landscape and the challenges that Timor-Leste faces with growing inequality. And he's going to discuss some of the economic impacts on children and young people. We'll then narrow our focus and Señora Dinorah will lead us through the establishment of the Commission of the Rights of the Child and some of its achievements and challenges, and particularly interesting is where it's headed into the future. We'll then end with Maan Ato, who will explain the government's efforts in fulfilling children's rights in regards to Article 12 of the CRC on participation through his case study of the Youth Parliament. This is a really incredible effort and quite exemplary throughout the region. So I'm going to kick off with Maan Guti's presentation. This is a pre-recorded presentation, so bear with me with this technology. We were a little concerned about the internet connection holding up, so at both ends, not just there, but also here on ANU campus. So we've recorded this presentation. I think all three of them will run just under the hour. So if we have time at the end, we would love to have some questions from you, from the audience. You can either ask them directly or post them in the chat. So first off to Maan Guti, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and going to share the recording.
Thank you for Mana Angie for nice introduction, and thanks also for including me in this discussion. Now, my presentation today will focus not specifically on the youth and children, but providing some kind of broader framework about the policy discussion in Timor-Leste since 2008. Content of this presentation is about, introduction as we are doing, and then I will focus more on the post-conflict recovery policy and primarily stability and development policy. Develop the era of the stability and development, what kind of policy set and its back. And then we'll see youth in terms of youth roles in the economic development landscape. And then I will finalize with recent development about the political uncertainty and COVID and its impact on the youth. It is just a preliminary kind of a discussion. As I said, the goal of this presentation is to provide general picture of the public development policy since 2008, the impacts of those policies on the people's livelihood, and then I will try to situate youth in terms of its economic development process, and then the impact of COVID and lockdown on the youth. I will move on to the era of stability and development, which I will mostly from 2008 up to 2017. So this is an era where we can say that the decade of political stability. This political stability has enabled the government to invest more on the infrastructure, one of the development priority, and specifically on the road and electricity, road and public building office. And also we can see that another public service. This can be seen in terms of the number of public servants and employment in the public sector, the community health center that has been established, number of doctors and nurses and teachers that increase, schools and the students, and the budget for the education and health in terms of its nominal. We also see the numerous social programs that is being created. For example, the subsidy programs for the veterans, for the elderly, Bolsa da Mãe, Merenda Escolar, these are the other things. And there is an attempt to build to start public housing program, for example, through the MDG, and which is a very controversial project. And now the government also started a new program called the Umag Pitline. We also see the expansion of state bureaucracy. For example, many institutions are created, and number, as I said, number of public employment that increases, and then what we see also is the financial and economic cost of maintaining those institutions are very big in terms of the financial and economic cost. Another two projects which is also very big and quite politically sensitive as well, which are South Coast Petroleum Corridor and Special Economic Zone in Oikus. Now these are the programs that we have seen in the last decade. Now these are the budget outlooks. The budget has been increasing since particularly 2018 and then to 2012, and then it's kind of maintaining up until 2016. The budget reached 1.9 million at the time, and then it has been declining. And then up until 2021, we see the budget reaches around 2 billion. Now, in the last few years, we see that in 2020, the government running up until the late years that it didn't have a proper budget. Now, the impact of this program is quite controversial and provoked a heated debate in Timor-Leste. But one thing that we can, I think, the positive side is that the last decade has been seen as being described as along the political stability. And then national electrification right now almost around 85 to 90% of people Timor-Leste have access to electricity. And then we can see also the road network is quite improved significantly, particularly in terms of national road connections. And then between 2008 2008 up to 2016, the economic growth trend is positive. It grew about, the growth rate was about 6.5% every year in terms of the average. And then there is a sense of hope among Timorese. We also can see several improvements in terms of health and education access, number of students that have access to school, the decline of mortality rate among children and maternal. These are some kind of examples. Improvement in terms of quality of private housing, as many people have the capacity, purchasing power. They also build a better house, and we can see that in many parts of the country. And also improvement in terms of access to water and sanitation, although it is still big problems in Timor-Leste, but some would argue that compared to like previous years, it has been better. In terms of, we can see that the poverty particularly has declined, but this data is from 2014. So between 2007 up to 2014, the poverty declined from 50% to 41%. That is the national poverty line. And based on the international poverty line, which is $1.9, it declined by it up to 30% in 2014. Multidimensional poverty, although it's still big in the region and it's still highest in the region, but if we see the poverty rate according to 2020 data from the Oxford and from the UNDP, the multidimensional poverty index was 45.8%. Although it is still big, but compared to 2010, I have to say that it is 2010, it was almost 70. Now, Human Development Index also has been, this is a big tricky because the Human Development Index has been increasing the point, but also decreasing in the last few years, particularly because the income side of the GNI per capita, which has been declining. So if you see, this is the Human Development Index, which has been increasing at the income side, which increased, but increased up to 2010, but and then decline again. So these are some indicators about the if you see number of students in the basic education increasing, number of students of the secondary education between 2008 and 2019, teachers of the secondary schools, number of hospitals remain the same, but number of community health centers, there is a big increase, health posts, number of doctors, nurses, and midwives. So these are some kind of changes that we see in the last 10 years. Now, some of the critics, and I mean, this is not new in Timor-Leste, the critics here, including some of my writing as well. One of the problems is that it is unsustainable, particularly because we depend too much, we depend too much on external rent, which is generated from exporting the natural resources of oil. This has transformed the country, Timor-Leste, as a state to a rentier state, and we kind of pursue a rentier development. And one of the critics also is the law of public investment in human capital, particularly health and education. Another one is that it is not inclusive because most of the development is centralized in Dili. So we call it Dili-centric development model, because even though the poverty rate is still big, 42%, but in Dili alone, only 29% of poverty are in Dili compared to 42% of national level. Now, 80% of private sector employment are in Dili. Very limited jobs are being generated in the formal sector. So around 66% of jobs are in the informal sector. And one of the problems with the informal sector is that they they are not protected by the social security. Now, poverty remains high and the highest in the region. Gap between urban and rural in many indicators are observed. And then imbalance growth and sectoral growth. For example, agriculture remains stagnant in the last decade. And service, particularly the services and the construction sector, has been expanding. So this has been provided some of the basis to argue that the inequality is growing. Now, in terms of youth and children, in terms of economic development, we can see that 70% of the population are in Timor-Leste below 30 years old. This we can see. This line around 67% of the population of Timor-Leste below under the 30 years old. So we are quite young population. Now, and to be precise, like more than around 20% are between 16 to 30 years old. So now the political rhetoric that has been going is that youth are the future of the country. So youth need to contribute to development. But sometimes I argue that youth is the future, so it is not the present. So they have to wait. They have to wait. So what we see is that they have to wait for the job opportunity and to take the political leadership. Now, the political response also we say that the true wealth of any nation is the people, and that is what stated in the strategic development plan. And we have the youth, national youth policy, which says that the energetic and dynamic transition of young people to adult life is a valuable resources for the development and empowerment of the country. So in political rhetoric, there is a kind of positive attitude toward that, or at least realization about the importance of youth. But there is, another one is the demographic dividend, which says that, which basically says that since the country have high youth development, a high youth proportion of youth, it is a good thing because they can transform at least in terms of economic, to the positive outcome of the development. But the idea of youth goals is that youth bulk is that if we don't, it is a kind of dilemma. If we don't invest in them, it also becomes a kind of threat to the Timor-Leste. So it is an option that the choices that the country has to make. Now, in terms of education, we can see that the education indicators of the youth are better off compared to their older brother. And but in terms of economic participation, particularly, there are some indicators that we need to see is that for the youth, number of youth labor force has been increasing from 1999 in 2010 to 245 in 2015. The labor force participation rate in 2015 is 2016 25.8%. That is higher compared to 6%, 6.5% in 2010, but it's still lower than the national labor force participation rate, which is 53%. Now, there are around, in 2016, there are around 182,082 people who are not in the labor force, but they are students. There are also youth, youth that are not in education, in the employment, and also not in the employment or any training. This contribute around 29% of the youth. Now, these are the data about the number of youth that are participated in the economic, the type of economic activities that the youth contribute to, based on the age range. So we see that there are a number of quite big numbers are in the students and are in the students, particularly those 15 to 19 and 15 to 24 years old. That these are the potential labor force that's so-called. Now, as we see, 65% of the youth, particularly between 15 to 24, are full-time students. There is also kind of a good thing we need to see is that 17% of the youth are involved in the informal sector, the self-employment or member of cooperatives or contributing to family. These are the informal employment, and most of them are vulnerable employment. Now, youth unemployment is quite high, 33% in 2016, increased from 21% in 2010. Now, that is quite high compared to number of national unemployment rate, which is only 11% in 2016. Now, we also see that among these unemployed youth, 57% of them are tertiary education. So that is quite a big so the issue here is that growth has not been translated into a productive and decent job to accommodate the youth. Youth unemployment is higher than the national unemployment rate. Low incentive for the youth involved in the agricultural sector. Although access to education has expanded, but human capital index remains low. For example, based on human capital index, Timor-Leste's human capital index is lower than Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. Now, low private sector investment that sometimes in economic because low private sector investment means that there are not enough jobs being created. There is also discussion in Timor-Leste about the skill mismatch, where what people learn in the school and the universities are not compatible with what people need in the labor market. Now, so the policy issue here is how to translate the political rhetoric into policy actions. And one of the problems here is that budget allocation to education sector is still less than 10% in the total state budget. And the state's allocation to health sector is also only around 6% of the state budget. In the meantime, budget allocation to agricultural sector is also only around 2%. Sometimes it's less than 2%. That is quite low compared to budget in the South Coast and Jazza. There is a kind of undermining the rural economy that has triggered the influx from particularly youth from rural sector to Dili. And despite political rhetoric, not much attention has been given to the young youth entrepreneurship. Now, in the since 2016, we also have seen the problems with the political uncertainty and COVID and its impact on the youth and children. I just highlight some of the problems here. For example, before COVID, we already have high poverty, high vulnerability, poor infrastructure, low economic productivity, and institutional productivity, institutional fragility. In 2000, because of the political uncertainty and economic decline since the COVID, in 2020 alone, we have seen the economic, according to the preliminary data from the National Statistic Economic decline by 8.5%. There is a disruption of supply chains, which impacts on the activity of the enterprises. Price in some places, price increase for the consumer goods, consumption goods and services, income loss for the enterprises, the income also lost for the informal sector. So, as many of the enterprises have decided to reduce their labor, the number of their workers because of the income, decline in terms of their income. So the vulnerability for the household has increased. Now we can see also that many children and youth cannot attend school during the lockdown because of the pre-existing infrastructure and the socioeconomic condition do not support the children to attend online classes. They cannot learn from their peers. We also see the mental health issue in Timor-Leste, and many youth lost their jobs and income. Many self-employment activities cannot operate, and so the vulnerability has increased. So these are the my presentation today, and I hope that provide some kind of big framework about what is going on in Timor-Leste.
Thank you so much, Gute. Thank you also for your technical mastery in managing that little glitch there. That was a really great overview, I think, and really speaks to, I guess, those, not only the policy landscape and the economic outlook for children and young people, but also to those political narratives around the importance of waiting, and children and young people have to wait for their time, and once they've grown up, they can get their rights. Of course, through a children's rights perspective, children's lives have value not only in the future as labour participants, as is often construed, but now and today. So on that note, we're going to go live to Senora Dinorah, who's going to share with us her presentation on the CRC and how Timor is going through its establishment and some of its achievements and challenges. Thanks, Senora.
Thank you for organizing this meeting. Very good opportunity to share with all of us what ongoing now with Commission for Child Rights. I know that some of you already know about the Commission work and why Commission by government Timor-Leste need to establish a commission. But as you know that in 2003, government Timor-Leste ratified the all convention human rights, include child rights commission, and two optional protocol. This is very important. One is the sale of children, child prostitution, and child pornography. And the another optional protocol is involvement of children in armed conflict. After this, government decided to establish commission in 2009 to make sure that national mechanisms to ensure that national policy program and achieve to promote and secure and protect fundamental right of every children in Timor-Leste. I think this is of some legal base. I would like to share with all of us you about the process of establishment of the National Commission. Yeah, you can see with loan process until now. Last time, 2070, government decide to transfer commission under to Minister of Social, because they were based on the political issue that they say that they have same issue in MSSI. This is why they transfer based on the decree law number 14, 2018. They changed to MSSI. Until now, we in MSSI. And before go to Indica, yeah, we have some our vision, our mission in here. Maybe I just go through the what we need to you know, all of you know about the ongoing work in commission. Yeah, this is a strategic program of the commission. One, to strengthening human resource and establish of the commission, and this is to ensure that commission have good resource, good capacity to work in their vision and mission. And as you know that under leadership of the Commission, Government Timor-Leste developed first National Action Plan for Child Rights in 2016. We have 4 years National Action Plan. This National Action Plan, when we start in develop, go through long process. They were like almost 1 year to finalize this National Action Plan, that they go through consultation process to engage various stakeholders, include line minister, and final approved by the council minister. And commission used this National Action Plan to as one like our guide, commission guide to work in Timor-Leste. This National Action Plan, we combine, we put together a recommendation from Commission of CRC, we call concluding observation, and we also in this National Action Plan, we also combine SDG and recommendation from concluding observation. This will help government to strategically plan, implement, and monitor. This is one commission use for monitor line minister to have to implement child right. Some of achievement we commission done, commission established until now. As you know that in 2015, commission or through CRC leadership, we write our first and second CRC report for the implementation of the CRC in Timor-Leste. We also doing celebration for International Children Day and CRC, right? This is 1st of June and 25th of November. This is one we use to promote children rights in Timor-Leste. Normally, we celebrate not in Dili because we want to all people in Timor-Leste, especially children, know that they have their own rights in Timor-Leste, and globally we celebrate, and also in Timor-Leste we celebrate. They have like one day for them to celebrate their rights in Timor-Leste. We also, I mentioned, and we also have National Action Plan. We also established our advocacy working group for child rights. This is one strategy we use. The advocacy working group, this is composed by INGO and NGO, and also UNICEF. We're working together. When we face that we have some children issue, we need to advocate in national level. We will organize our advocacy working group to advocate some issue that we need to raise in national level to our government or our political to know that this is very important issue, and to put attention in this issue. In 2019, we also launching the campaign for stop violence against children and stop. We call stop buying. We launching the stop child labor, but we call the theme of the campaign is not buy from children. This is because like you see the presentation from Mangute, that we also in Timor-Leste, we also have many children involved in the child labor because of the situation. This is why Commission take initiative to launching this campaign, how to engage family to know that not children, they have their rights, their own rights to not for involved in the labor, because this is not their job. They have to go to school to participate, developing developing their own capacity. This is not time for them to involve in the labor. In 2019 also, we starting to do revision for statute of commission to become independent, totally independent. We put in achievement because in 2021 January, finally, Council Minister approved our revision of statute. And now, Commission starting now we not call again Commission of Human Rights, but Institute for Public Defense. Institute for Public Defense of Children. This is the new name. In Portuguese, we call Instituto para Defesa Direito da Criança, Indica. We're still working on preparation for of handover from KDL, Commission of Child Rights, to Indica. And one is a new program in commission, because when we would like to call some line minister like Minister of Education, Minister of Health, MSSI himself, about the state budget, increase their budget in their program. We have to have some indicator. This way, in 2020 we start in develop child market for state budget, but we will start for annual budget for 22 annual budget for state budget. We working closely with UCMA. We start development now. We finalize the policy note to send to council minister to get approval, and we will start in working with line minister to see how they include issue of program and budget, increase their budget, annual budget for children issue in their annual plan and also annual budget. We also, one is also, I want to inform you that we also working with Minister of Justice. We facilitate birth certification for victim of GBV, because they cannot bring their, like some of them, they have baby, and they sometimes when they go through normal registration, they need to follow all like they have to follow the regulation, but they don't, some of the victim, they don't know that who's father of this baby. This why we working with Minister of Justice to facilitate this baby to have their own certification. This is one of the right of the children, the right in the our CRC and also our constitution. We also working with commission, we call commission contra trabajo infantil and ILO. This commission under CEFOPE. They focus on child labor. We developed child labor draft law and national action plan for child labor. Now we already finalized, we already submit to council minister. We still need, we still waiting for final approval, and we can use, we working with the Commission of Child Labor to how to not stop but minimize, because it's too difficult to stop them, but how to minimize them involving in the child labor. As you know that we still have challenges because some of the law still pending, not yet get approval, like our child protection law still pending in national parliament since 2007 until now. But last week, not last week, but in the Monday, I'm just get information from Commission F of Parliament National that next week they will discuss about they will discuss about this law, and they will call some like some agency, NGO, and also commission and some line minister to do discussion for finalizing this law. And another challenge that we face starting commission established until now is low priority budget for children instead annual budget. Based on this issue, this why we take our initiative to working on child market to monitor each line minister their annual budget related to the children issue. As you know, that commission still under annual budget of the MSSI. We have we have limitation of the budget because we didn't get independent totally. This why we are starting established until now. We still depend of the annual budget of the ministerial when with what ministerial we under. Like now we depend of the MSSI's annual budget. We also have limitation of the human resource. We go to the related to the children situation in COVID time. As some issue, Mount Guti already mentioned that as all of you know that all children in Timor-Leste not have access to school because of the COVID. Most children in Dili involved in the child labor to support their family. Based on the assessment we did in February and March this year, we got number around 300 children involved in the child labor. We have difficult situation in COVID time, and as you know that in April we also have a big issue in Timor-Leste, flood. This is also impact to their to children. They lost house, include some material, and they forcing them to live in the shelter with their family, and also they go trauma in this situation. So you know that Minister of Education also create some program to helping children to access to school. They call this program they call Escola Bauma, but not effective because as you know that some of village in Timor-Leste, Suku in Timor-Leste, until now they didn't access to electricity, and also some they don't have some electronic like television or smartphone to access this program. And we also get some information based on our assessment that when we talk to the children, they say that we choose to play rather than follow the Escola Bauma program. And this COVID situation also leads for children become a victim of violence domestic because of the stress. Some of the family, like father or their mother, they lost the job because the private sector, they don't have income and they have to cut or they have to stop some of their staff. This way, children become risk in their family or this situation. What we doing in COVID time, we continue working on advocacy issue for some children issue. We also doing some publication about the COVID information for children to continue follow COVID-19 protocol. We also delivered message to television about the COVID, respond to the flood issue. We working with close with UNICEF and MSSI to create playground in shelter to helping children to continue play, drawing, and learning. We also working with our partners, some of national NGO, international NGO to contribute and working in there. And also we have some volunteer working in the shelter, in playground to how to continue to playing with these children in shelter. Regular visit to give support to children, to discuss with them what they need, like to know what their condition and give support moral to them. We also deliver some material for children. We get support from our partner, like school kit, hygiene kits, and nutrition kit. For our next plan, we continue doing socialization because this is one in most our work. We working on the child market program. Now we starting working with how we can socialize this type child market to line minister, and also working on develop our own checklist to monitor child market. When we get approval from our police paper, get approval from council minister, we start implement this. And in these 2, 3, 4 months, we working on setup of Indica. We will finalize in this month, and next month, when we get approval of our new structure and new internal regulation, maybe next month we don't call CDC anymore, but we will transfer to Indica for the new institution. We also plan to do revision of the National Action Plan because it's already done. We have to do revision for the next new strategy plan for the Indica, monitoring for implementation of National Action Plan. We also plan to have quarter report for implementation for National Action Plan, focusing on working with line minister to have their report and how we can sit together to review and give some comment, some input to the line minister. Continue with our campaign, stop violence and the stop child labor. And one is very important is capacity building for Indica staff and advocacy working group to develop our capacity to have good capacity and working on the child issue. I think this is all of what I want to share with our friend. Thank you, Manay.
So again, let me introduce myself. I'm Lekinawa Costa, advisor to the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport. So I'll be talking about the experience in terms of implementation of Child Rights Convention, looking from the perspective of participation. So what I'm going to do is to pass to you some information about the Youth Parliament of Timor-Leste. So there will be a little bit looking into the past and the current situation of youth participations, and also will be browse through the process of establishing the Youth Parliament and also what they do and what the impact they make so far. So that will be my presentation. And right now, I hope you can see in your slide, there's a few pictures there. So with the different titles, so the two pictures at the top is a youth in the past. So just two pictures there, but I guess we have many colleagues from Timor-Leste is also online, so they might be able to see that specific picture is only refers to the 12th of November 1991, a demonstration that took place from Montreal Church to Santa Cruz, and then a massacre took place. So those two pictures are at the top that to show how the participations take place in the past. So that was where young people take to the streets, demonstrating peacefully, but then at the end responded with gunshot from Indonesian military, and it kills over. They killed over 100 of them, and there take part in that demonstration. Luckily, survived. Now, what I'm trying to say, Indonesians signed the CRC, Child Rights Convention, 1 year before the event of demonstration took place, and they still commit the crime. And then you see the other pictures of youth today in Timor-Leste. Of course, I cannot show you everything about youth in Timor-Leste, but at least these 4 pictures, just to show you have young people who are active in sport, and 2 other pictures that young people is working, helping out neighbors and this who are faced flood recently. And then a picture in the right bottom corner, the youth parliament. They are having their plenary session. So that's to show, just to show how Timorese young people participating in many different ways, and also what it really means participation to young people. That's taking part in the process, in the decision, and also involved in various events and activities that affect them. So just start to also show you the ideas of youth parliament. So basically, President Ramos Horta, our past president, and the peace laureate, Nobel Peace Laureate Ramos Horta, having that idea. So he thinks that back in 2006, where the crisis took place, young people being blamed for active involvement in violence, and he thought that maybe the good idea to start with getting young people voice out into a mechanism that can serve the purpose. So that's where the talk between UNICEF and the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, and they end up establishing the Timor-Leste Youth Parliament. And with that, we have a secretariat that's running all everyday business of Youth Parliament, and we have Youth Council that took part in the consultation process with young people at the establishment of Youth Parliament, the selection process, and also the elections. And then with all the structures in place, and later at a later stage, even up to now, we have alumni of Youth Parliament, those who are working, taking over from the work of youth councils already doing, and now the first youth parliamentarians is transform themselves to alumni, and they are working and helping out the implementation of the program. And the program is actually it's fully funded by the state, and also with the support from UNICEF. So I don't have to go through this one because Gute already presented some of the points regarding the numbers of young people, youth balls, and so on. But I think it is important to point out we have highest number of young people in Dili, in the capital city, and that's where all the problems and all the opportunities also here in the capital city. And the other point is migration. So young people continuously migrated from rural to urban area, particularly to come to Dili for education, for employment, and also for entertainment. So what are the guidance in the implementation of youth parliament? So we look back to the past where we have a strong history of youth participation in our struggle for independence, and our constitution guaranteed that. Mana Dinorah already mentioned some of that. Child Rights Convention, of course, and the National Youth Policy, and our Parliament Decree. So the Youth Parliament established with the Parliament Decree. So they are backed up with the proper law to run the program. So who are they? We have, in terms of age, it's a 12 to 17 years old, and from each sub-district we have one boy, one girl, and they are from urban area and also rural area. And we also have a representative of young persons with disability, one boy and one girl. So in total, it is about 132, 130 from 65 sub-districts, and then plus representative from the young people with disability, one boy, one girl, it make up 132. But it's sometimes in certain period you have representation, in some other period you don't have. What they do in terms of routine? So they have the process, they have consultation with young people about the establishment of the program every year. They took that process. And then there's a selections of an election process take place. So I have my own experience when I lead the secretariat. We have a selection process where young people, 12 to 17 of that age, they are going through the testing where they can get the best one out of the testing, writing test, and then there's election process for them. So they have the election process with most of the one that come to vote are the one that in their age. And then after the election process, they have a training sessions in different topics: human rights, democracy, social issues, including skills in doing basic social analysis, gender issues, environmental issues, state budget. So if you listen to all of this big term, you might say that that's maybe too big for them. No, it's actually all the trainers, the facilitators try to do in a level where it can help them understand. And then they will have their own session, the plenary session, where they conduct the sessions likewise the national parliament. So they have commissions on education, commissions on health, commission on different sectors to discuss issues that affect them. Then in my experience again, at the end of this session, they handed over recommendation to the national parliament. So they bring in the national parliament representative and they hand over the recommendations. And then they also have a community outreach. I have the experience, brought them to visit young people living in a border area and collecting all the informations and doing exercises, social exercises with the young people over there, and collecting all the information and bring it forward. I hope the internet connection is going back, and present it publicly. So where public awareness about their presence, the youth parliament presence, and also the issues about young people can be considered. So what are the role? So one of the most important things is participate, meaning they come for training, they come for events that are organized by different NGOs, including the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, and they also engage with different actors in terms of voicing their concern and also involving in various activities. They're also doing influencing work, talking to different authorities in their village and also their post too, their sub-district authorities, and echoing their concern, and also the one that they represent. And there's a process of empowerment where individually they get trained and also exposed to many different opportunities that through the program. And also they are forming a collective body within themselves, that's the alumni of Youth Parliament, will help them to stay connected and also helping each other in terms of looking for scholarship, job opportunities, and the different opportunities that come out through, they can pass it through the alumni of Youth Parliament. And they learn how to lead, that one of the role that they are playing. So they are being the leaders themselves in their community and also in their schools, where they trusted to lead different programs that's running in an event. And you can easily find and notice that the youth parliamentarians are there and helping out or leading the process. They're also doing things that that help in their own community, and that's what the role that they're playing. So what are the outcomes so far? In my thought, as the inclusion take place, so we have boys and girls, and it must. So it cannot be like 2 boys, 1 girl, or 2 girls, 1 boy. No, it can't be like that. It has to be 1 boy, 1 girl, and it has to be coming from the postal sub-districts and rural and urban, and also a representative from young people with disability. We have a bit of challenge in this inclusion part, where young people, the illiterate young people, still have facing difficulties to participate, and we are thinking on now. We are thinking how we get that part to be in, so that they can also have in their say in the youth parliament program, and they are reaching out to more young people. No doubt, we have the program is running, and also they have building connection with their own community, and also participate in many different activities, bringing them closer to their own constituents, and it makes the programs more like reach out for more young people to participate in. And we have the impact level that's more into individual and also collective one. Individually, they are trained, receiving information, build up their knowledge and skills, and so on, each one of them. And now we can count for the 3 periods, one period 130. So now it's about close to 300 of them, So individually, they are benefited, and they also continue their own participation through the alumni of Youth Parliament. So that's where the connections continue to build up, and then some of them even establish a network with different organizations. So all this network are helping out in making their impact more can be seen. In terms of sustainability wise, there is no doubt that the program will be continues on, but we are thinking now more making more impact in a local level. So instead of having them coming down to capital city for all of that process, now we are thinking having more young people engage on youth parliament, or a type of that youth parliamentarians activity happen in the municipal level. So it will be more young people will get into this program. So we are looking for close to 1,000 young people in each period, where that can make a more impact in the future. But still, that's still on the table for discussion. So we are looking forward doing a few rounds of discussion with different people looking in terms of youth participation. Youth participations in the Article 12, but if you look into the article, it also links to the other articles in the convention. So you have Article 13, where access to adequate information is important. That's where the youth parliamentarians are there, and then freedom of thought, conscience, and religions, that's also there, and association and peaceful assembly, Article 15, and also Article 16 and 17, and also I forget to include Article 23 of the convention. All those articles are related to Article 12, and we actually share that ideas throughout our programs, and hopefully this presentation helps you to understand how the program is running and what the impacts have been so far. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Atto. That was a lovely, clear, beautiful presentation, and I'm really glad to hear also that you're thinking about how to engage with those most vulnerable, those who are illiterate, and also extending it out into the districts, reaching those far-flung places. So that's fantastic to hear. Such great work. I realise that we have gone really over time, and with all of mostly my technical difficulties, but there was, if anyone wanted to ask a question, would you be able to either raise your hand and I can go to you directly, or put it in the chat? If not, there is just one question here for Mana Dinorah. Mana, this question is in relation to how the Commission, I guess, collaborates with the line ministries, and this one is in relation to the Bolsa de Mayo team. So the question is around how did the Commission collaborate with the Bolsa de Mayo team for vulnerable children, for survivors, children in remote poor villages, children to unmarried parents or separated family, to be eligible for Bolsa de Mayo. Mana Dinorah, are you able to come in on that one?
Yeah. Related to the Topohoni's situation, as you know, that is ongoing process. We from Commission part and working group, we working closely with the children in Topohoni's. We focus on the children. We, as you know, that we not interrupt in the justice process. We focus in the how we can continue support children in the Topohoni's, get some support from them. This is we do what we can. We do with for commission job. We not interrupt in the justice process. Most of the people question about that, why Commission not say anything about this case, because this case now in justice process. Yeah, we from our side, we focus on the how these children in Topohoni's orphanage can still alive there. Yeah, how we can provide moral support to them and get some support, material support for them in Topohoni's. About the justice issue, this is not our role. Yeah, this is what we doing. We have good communication with these children. Some of them we facilitate to get some non-formal education, like professional training in Dili. We get support. We give support to them to continue their study in some school in Dili. This is what we're doing for Topohoni's children. And we have one question for Mana Anita for the certification bid. Yeah, we working closely with Ministerio Solidaridad Social for Bolsa de Mine program. As I don't know, this is one is in 2021. We working with Minister of MSSI have new program. We call Bolsa de Mine by Geração Fong. This Bolsa de Mine, this is focused on the victim, like this Bolsa de Mine provide for children from when they like the mothers, when children still in the still like they not yet birth, yeah, like the mother still pregnant. We call Bolsa de Mine for new generation. This is MSI still working on this program. And when we get some information, some data about the children or some single mother victim from violence, we normally submit this information. We recommend to Minister of Solidarity, to MSSI, to put in consideration and to priority for these children. Normally, we working with MSSI through Bolsa de Mine to provide data to MSSI when we have some information, some data about the some children need support, their mom need support for continue their life, focusing how to take care of these children. Thank you, Mana.
Thank you, Mana. All right, I realize we are totally over time, so we're going to have to wrap it up. But this is one last question for Atto, and I think these two are related. Brett has said, it would be great to see opportunities for young people in the 17 to 25 age range continue to have their political voice. Perhaps a youth parliament alumni network where they can gather occasionally and discuss issues. Atto, is there one already? And I think this goes to the second question. Samuel is very keen. He is obviously outside of East Timor at the moment, but he's asking if he can join the youth parliament and what opportunities there are for him to connect. Thanks, Atto.
Okay, thanks for question, Brett. Hi, Brett, how are you? So for your question, Brett, we have if you're aware, in Timor-Leste we have a platform outside of youth parliament, which is youth political party branch organizations. They have their own platform to discuss different political issues around themselves. So that's another platform that exists. And then it's actually, I believe National Youth Council is the one that will handle on that one. Then you have also, we have also youth centers where young people can use to voice their concern and also to do different type of activities. So for that, young people, they have their own platform in place. But for adolescents like 12 to 17, we don't have much platforms that can accommodate them. So the youth parliament can be a good opportunity for them for that purpose. And can somebody outside of the country participate? No, of course not, because you have to be here for elections. You have to be here for selection process. So it's a bit competitive. So you get elected by your colleagues and your constituents. Then you go for the next process. Otherwise, you can't. So very sorry, Samuel, if you're outside and or your cousins or boys or friends and outside, you cannot.
All right. Okay, I can see some more questions popping up here, but very sorry, we're going to have to bring this to an end. It's been an absolute pleasure and a delight to get up to date on what is happening in Timor-Leste and the government's efforts in fulfilling the rights of children and young people. I want to thank all of you, Ato Lekinawa Costa, Senora Dinorah Granadeiro, and Maun Guteriano Neves for your time today. Thank you so much. I want you to know also that this recording will be available on our website, so please share it with your networks, and we look forward to engaging with you in the future. Thank you so much. Obrigada, Barak.